It's a desk card, flag desk card I'm making for a friend of mine. So I drew this out, and the flag, the shape I was going for was the flag was kind of waving. You'll see here, it's kind of as if it's kind of undulating in the wind. And so I tried to approximate that visually with the stars as well. In my CAD program, when I was drawing out these stars, there's like a warp feature where you can like grab a point of the star and like stretch it. And I did that, not on all the stars. I did it on a few of the stars to kind of give the approximation visually of if this flag was waving in the wind, the optical appearance of if it was waving. I'm trying to approximate that on a flat surface. You guys can tell me if I was successful or not. I'll let you guys be the judge, but that's what I tried to do. And so these flags came out, these stars came out pretty good, and the kerf width of this plasma, of this particular torch, is about 0.062, 0.065, and depending on the height of the torch is above the metal. And so that kind of limits your detail. That's the width. So I could go to a fine cut. There's some consumables. You can get a little these different torch or some different torch components that actually have a finer jet. Then you're limited to amperage. I think you have to lower the amperage. And so, but this torch right now, this program, I'm running at 42 amps, 45 amps, I think, was what I had it set to. And the plasma torch I'm using here is a Longevity 62i. And so the Longevity 62i integrates really easily into a CNC table. It's got a port right on the front for the arc OK to move, the actual torch switch, and it allows you to hook those things. It's very easy to integrate into a CNC table. It's a beast. This the 62i will cut half-inch plate at a pretty good speed, no problem. The torch itself, the cutter, has got like a 95% duty cycle, so it's a bit of an air hog. It needs a lot of air. Can't remember how many CFM. It's like 4.5 or 5 CFM at 90 psi, and I just have a little 110 compressor, which barely keeps up. And on startup, when the 62 initiates an arc, the inrush of current is so high that electrically it appears as a dead short. And so I had to put a thermal breaker to give a little bit of delay on this, just a little bit of delay on startup, just because that inrush of current is so high when it initiates an arc. But the Longevity is a beast. And so here, I'm not quite sure if I had the right shade. I tried to get you guys some really good shots of this plasma, the jet, this little, the arc itself. And I got some pretty good shots of it. It's cutting out these stars here. And you can see the reflection of the GoPro inside this, behind this little shield. And so I actually might go and buy some different ratings, different shade lens, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I'm going to experiment. I'm going to get you guys some really good shots of this plasma jet. It's really mesmerizing to see something just vaporizing steel. It literally just vaporizes it. So it's something that's fascinating. And, I mean, you wouldn't want to stare at it. You would actually probably have retinal damage if you stared at this arc. But if you have a helmet or the proper lens on some goggles, you can watch it. It's not a problem. But there's a little bit of blast here coming from the water table. But the water table does a very good job of cooling that, keep that part from warping, and it also entrains all the dust from the plasma operation. So shots came out pretty good. Not great, but here it is. We're finishing out this part, and you can see all the little star detail. Star detail came out pretty good. I might try and set up a fine consumable torch in this, and get a better finer cut. But The longevity goes all the way to 60 amps. And I'm running this around 45. Here I'm pulling this out, and a little bit of steam coming off there, but these cuts came out. These cuts came out great. Cutting small detail parts like these stars is just, it's really hard. The machine's always accelerating and decelerating. It doesn't have time to get up to its optimum speed. So you always get some dross on these little fine details. If you want to get away from that, you have to switch to a different process, like a laser cutter or something. Laser cutters, the kerf width is, you probably measure it in angstroms or something like that. But yeah, I just cleaned the rust off of this, and I used a number 4, a 1/2-inch piece of rebar for the flagpole, and welded this on. I'm going to leave this rebar plain. It's got a little rust on it, and then I'm leaving that plain. And then I'm welding the kickstand. This is to make it sit upright. And I didn't put a really good polish on this. I just kind of left it rough. Now this is the little finial I put on this. I machined this finial on my lathe, and it's not perfectly round. It's almost kind of, but then I welded it and I kind of ground a little transition into it and blended that. Here it is, guys. What do you think? This is a culmination of a lot of different choices here, and I think it came out really good. And I may do another one and maybe leave it in patina. Maybe do another one and paint it. I'm not sure, but I'm just going to keep working on these. I'm just going to keep trying, keep getting better. Let me know what you think. Like it in the plain steel? Thanks, guys. I appreciate your time on this.